Got new earbuds for today, so I don't have to be wearing my headset so I can hear what I'm saying. Massive change. Ooh. Video games can be a very personal form of art for us as an audience. They connect directly to the player and involve them in the experience they weave in a way no other form of art can truly replicate. I've seen many people bond with certain games, franchises, and characters because of this. People who obsess, looking for something like Dark Souls or Hotline Miami. The abundance of fan translations and patches to keep games that would otherwise be unavailable available, and people just getting or creating little reminders, like plushes of Pokemon who are important to their journeys. But I have never seen a fandom more obsessed with a series than Sonic. Note, I said series. Undertale is people obsessed over one game, at least for now, while Deltarune is still in limbo. The fans create horror stories based off Sonic. So many fan comics and games. A spoof of Community starring Sonic characters? Sonic 06, widely believed to be one of the worst games of all time, has an insanely well done fan recreation in the works called Project 06 that makes it actually great, and it makes me feel better about liking the game when I was a kid. Sonic Mania was a fan game made official by Sega. Hell, one of the animators from Sonic Mania and ex-fan comic creator Tyson Hess was behind the redesign of the model from the Sonic movie from a horrible monstrosity and guaranteed flop into the blue blur we got. On the one hand, I understand it. The counterculture Hedgehog insane statement today, I know, was an exciting shift away from Nintendo's ultra family-oriented approach that was all the industry had to offer when Sonic burst onto the scene, appealing to older siblings everywhere and letting Sega do the impossible and take market share away from Nintendo. The speed, his cocky little foot taps, held the increased skill required versus the Mario games in terms of quick and precise decision making probably had a similar effect as we see people have with Dark Souls today. On the other hand, why is there so much fan art with him and Jesus? All of this is to say, today we're looking at Sonic's origins. Sonic the Hedgehog 1 from, well, Sonic Origins. Okay, Sonic 1, let's do this. This is the 20-somethingth version of Sonic 1, including one on Tesla, because that's safe. And boy, can you just not tell it all. The biggest things to note from this compared to the original, at least when played on anniversary mode, since there's another mode that's, well, it's just the original, is the lack of lives and time limits the original placed on you, as well as a full screen display, allowing the player to see more of the map, which you will see later is very important. Also, you can play as Amy, Knuckles, and Tails, but I stuck to the original Spiky Ball of Death. I imagine these changes were made in the name of accessibility, moving away from the original design that was so eager to replicate the arcade experience. Lives to force people out of the game and extend the play times, time limits to enforce extra quick decision making, increasing the likelihood of errors. It's an experience that doesn't quite match up with what gaming is like today. The game starts off in the famous Green Hill Zone. It's green. There's hills. It's going to be zoned for housing, I'd assume. Everything it needs. It's famous for a reason. The Green Hill theme is incredibly boppable, to the point it is reused in practically everything, even tangentially Sonic related. The level itself is the best level of the game by far, introducing and utilizing what makes Sonic unique compared to the bog standard plumber in red. Sonic's faster. I feel like I have offhandedly mentioned the game's speed about 100 times already, but in case you weren't aware, Sonic, is a fast character. This means where Mario is precise in his slowness, allowing for considered platforming and beating of enemies, Sonic is reactionary, seeing danger or a new area and responding in an instant. This means where Mario would slow down to best engage with a new challenge placed in his path, Sonic plows through, emphasized further by... Just to interrupt myself for a second, the reactionary focus of Sonic was a problem in terms of the unfair feeling of the challenge with the original aspect ratio, as the smaller screen often gave you a very tiny window to see when things were coming. The wider screen included in this version allows a bit more time and is a great improvement for the quality of life, which is what I was talking about earlier when I said that the large screen was much better. Back to me, the multiple paths. Each level has multiple paths you can take throughout, a higher level and a lower one. The higher one is often filled with more secrets and is more optimal or faster to make your way through. It also requires more skill, throwing more at you to react to in order to stay on top. If you fail, you fall onto the inferior path, but instead of stopping and slowly making your way back to where you were, Sonic continues to dash towards the end on this new path, maintaining the momentum the game had built. That momentum is built well throughout Green Hill, with combinations of flattish planes designed to bring you up to top speed and platforming challenges. Once at top speed, you jump further and higher, flying through the map like a rogue pinball with Lego bricks jutting out. It requires more precision from the player to land safely, as opposed to going slower. The momentum gets slowed when you stop to search for secrets hidden throughout the level, and there is a lot of secrets. There's walls you can dash through, hidden areas you can access, portions of the map you can skip over by taking the right paths at top speed, extra coin boxes and tree drops that drop if you strike them, a huge variety of secrets that can give you boosts for the level, extra rings, or shortcuts through the level, decreasing your final time. I would say it's a great risk versus reward, costing momentum for the chance at something beneficial, but in reality it's not quite that. It's a challenge it wants you to be able to make your way through eventually, as evidenced by how it encourages repeat playthroughs. If you play the game through normally, it rejects your victory, telling you to try again with Eggman juggling the Chaos Emeralds in his victory. So as you play through the level again and again, you will start to find the optimal path through it, combining all you've learned from the level to blaze your way through with the highest score you can. Like I said in the intro, Sonic is kinda soulsy, except it's based around speed and hedgehogs as opposed to death and more death. Looping back to the Chaos Emeralds, they can only be obtained through beating special stages at the end of levels, which you enter by having 50 plus rings when you finish, ensuring you had close to a no-hit run of the level, as you lose all of the rings you have on you when you would otherwise be killed by hitting an obstacle. This also means as long as you have one ring on you, you're invincible. But the combination of the Chaos Emeralds requiring a no-hit run and the repeat playthroughs letting you find secrets to get more rings and make the run faster and easier, you're going to be playing like a pro in no time when going for the good ending. So, I've been talking about the mechanics and structure in general, but also in relation to Green Hill as a default stage. Unfortunately, it is not really a default stage for this game. Its pace and structure is the peak of it in terms of levels, to the point where it feels like a totally different game at points. The level right after Green Hill is so painfully slow, with roadblocks thrown out at every turn, intentionally slowing you down. Look at this shit. No way that isn't intentional. Then there's waiting for blocks to carry you over lava, waiting for this spike bit to drop, Just lots and lots of waiting around. Even Sonic is bored. It is the absolute antithesis of the design that made Sonic 1 so incredible. Why is it like this? To give a momentum break? Why do we need one? The levels are all short enough that we get sufficient breaks between them with the menu screen showing the points. Then there's a water level, and I would not be surprised in the slightest if this is where the hatred of water levels comes from. If you thought waiting around a bunch in the level we looked at previously was bad, this combines that waiting, this time mostly done through waiting for air bubbles you need to regularly pick up, otherwise you drown, with Sonic being incredibly sluggish compared to above the water. Why? Why design a character so much around the momentum you can build, only to cut it off at the knees with level design? A few levels managed to come close to Green Hill, but never quite as good. There's also a few more cheap deaths throughout, which again feel very arcadey in their want to increase playtime to me. This guy following you around comes to mind for this, as well as hitting a jump pad into an off-screen enemy. Green Hill carries this game, and I understand people becoming obsessed with its potential from it. A common thing I seem to hear about a lot of Sonic games, 06, Frontiers. But by itself, it just doesn't feel like they had completely understood the capabilities of what they had just yet. Thank you for watching, and like the share subscribe button for more critiques by Candlelight. For the next video, we're going to jump from one classic Sega franchise to another. That's right, starring AA, it's Yakuza Kiwami. Duskin out.